Hey there, drone fans. Today I've got the brand new Potensic Atom 2 drone. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't flown a lot of the Potensic products, but I've had so many people asking about this particular drone that I thought I'd bring one in, do a quick unboxing to show you everything that's included with the kit. And as I'm going through the unboxing, I'll give you some insight on how the product works and how the parts fit together, and really compare it to other drones that I've reviewed, because I want to get it up in the air and really fly it a little bit before I can talk too much about the performance of it. But I want to get through the unboxing first so I can get outside and start flying the drone. Anyway, let's get into it. So when you open up the box, you'll find this really nice case. Now, I need to point out, Potensic offers this in two different bundles. They have the basic package, which includes the drone, a battery, and a controller, and they have a Fly More package, which I have here, which includes a lot of other accessories. Now, my honest opinion, before I even open it, I'm sure that all the things included in the Fly More package are things you're going to want anyway. So if you go with the basic package, the minute you start flying it, I'm sure you're going to want to fly it longer, and you'll need extra batteries. This is extra batteries. If you nick a propeller when you're out there flying, you'll need to change it. This is extra propellers. You'll also need a case to keep everything organized. So my recommendation is, if you're looking at this drone, you may want to consider the Fly More package, because you're getting a discount and you're getting a lot of the things that you'll use out there in the field. All right, enough about that. Let's get into the Fly More package. So the first thing you'll notice when you open the box is this really nice carrying case, which does a really good job of holding everything together and protecting it. And what I like so much about a case like this is that it not only protects the gear, but it keeps everything organized, because when you're flying your drone, there's a lot of components. There's the controller, there's batteries, there's the drone, there are cables. All that stuff is inside the case, and that's important because you don't want to head out on a Saturday afternoon to go flying only to get on site and figure out you forgot a cable, or you nicked a propeller, you don't have a spare propeller. So having a case like this keeps everything organized, and it keeps it nice and protected. So when you leave the house, you just pick up the bag, head out the door, and you've got everything you need to fly. All right, let's get into the case here. So there's a zipper on the top. There are no external pockets on this, but there's a nice elastic strap on the back. I guess you could use to hang something off the back there. So I'll open it up, and inside there's a mesh pocket up top here that has some stuff in it. So let me open that up. Looks like an instruction manual, probably a safety guide. There's some silica in there too. Always chuck these silica packets. I talk about this every time I open a product. These are great for keeping moisture out of the product during shipping, but you don't want to leave these laying around, because kids look at this and it almost looks like candy, and you don't want them eating this. So make sure the first thing you do when you open it up is throw out the silica package there. All right, so we've got an instruction manual. What else is in here? Boy, there's a lot of gear in here. All right, let me pull it all out first. Oh, nice little flap here that holds the drone, it looks like. So there's the drone. I'm going to save that till last. What's this? Oh, charging hub. That's pretty cool. What else we got in here? A controller. Man, that's a massive controller. That looks really incredible. And again, I haven't used a lot of Potensic products, so all of this is new for me. I have flown a buddy's older quad from Potensic, but I haven't actually flown any that I've owned, so this is really my first one. All right, so that's pretty much it. Now, there are compartments inside the case where everything I pulled out fits in there really nicely. And to be honest with you, there's so much stuff here, I can't believe that it fits in the case, but they've done a really good job building a custom case for carrying the stuff around and making sure everything is organized. All right, I almost don't know where to start here, but let's start with the charger. That's always fun. So let's see. This is something you don't find in a lot of drones nowadays. Most manufacturers kind of assume that you've got a charger, and they don't include one. So here we have a charger. Well, isn't that nice? That's really nice. All right, so it's a pretty large charger, and it has it's a barrel connection on the end of it. So we'll have to see what that charges. Let me open up the packet of accessories next, because you never know what's included in these Fly More packages. But at a bare minimum, I'm expecting there are going to be propellers in there and probably some other cool stuff. So let me get inside here. You know, a lot of companies are starting to use these new poly bags, which are almost impossible to open up. So I'm going to have to tear it a little bit. All right, let's get the stuff out of here and see what we've got. Okay, we've got, looks like 4 sets. Yeah, 4 sets of spare propellers. So that's really nice. Now again, with the spare propellers, it's really important you understand that these are a balanced pair. And if you've never flown a drone like this before, when I open up the drone later, I'll show you this, but the two opposing arms have propellers that are either clockwise or counterclockwise, but they match. So when you're replacing the propellers, make sure you understand if you're changing a clockwise or counterclockwise propeller, and always change them in pairs. Don't change one of these, always change a pair of them, because these are typically balanced from the factory, and when you put them on the drone, you want to make sure you use new screws as well. There are screws in here and a screwdriver to make sure that you're getting the best adhesion for that propeller on the arm. All right, so 4 sets of propellers. which is really nice. So I've got spare propellers, I've got all the tools I need and screws I need to install those. There's also a cable included. It's a USB-A to USB-C. This is a charging cable. Really nice. Seems like a flexible cable. And then there are two connection cables. You've seen these before with other drones. They shouldn't be a surprise. And these connect the controller to your phone. So this one is an older USB-C to Apple, which is the older Lightning connection. And this one is a newer USB-C to USB-C. Now, no drone company any longer includes a USB-C to a micro because they're assuming you've gotten rid of your older phone. So if you've got a newer Android phone or a newer Apple phone, this USB-C to USB-C will work fine. If you've got an older Apple phone, you can use this one. All right, so let's go on to the charging dock next because I'm really curious about this. All right, here we go. Oh, there we go. Pretty nice. All right, so charging dock right there. It's got a port on the side for the charger, so that's obviously where the charger plugs in. So you can charge 3 drone batteries at the same time. Now I have to test this because other charging docks on the market would charge 3 batteries, but it did them in succession. So it would find one that needs the least amount of charge that one first, then check the other 2, find the one that needed the least charge between them, then charge that one, then move on to the third one. So it kind of walked its way in a serial fashion through the batteries. I expect that to be the case here, but the fact that they've included a hefty charger means they may very well charge all 3 batteries simultaneously, but we'll have to check that out. All right, so here are the batteries. Now these look suspiciously like another battery in the market, and the charging hub has a very familiar look to it as well. I'm not saying anything, but it does look similar. These batteries will provide up to 32 minutes of flight on a fully charged battery. So always charge the batteries fully before you go out to fly that day, but that's pretty cool. In addition to that, it looks like there's a USB-C connection on the end of the battery. Is it? Yeah, it is. Okay, so you can charge these batteries individually as well, probably in the drone or maybe on their own. I've got a lot of testing to do here, but I like the fact that the hub is included because that way you can be flying, going through a battery, 2 other batteries are charging, and when you land, you can pull a battery out of the drone, you can pull a battery out of the charger, swap them, and get right back up in the air. So really nice on the charging hub there. All right, so I got a lot of stuff here. Oh, and there's the manuals. Let me open that up too, just for kicks. I'm sure they're giving us a ton of different manuals in here. And it's always important to read through the manuals to make sure you get the best value out of the product. There's a couple of stickers, so if you're a big fan of Potensic, you can put some stickers on your car or whatever you'd like. And boy, there's a manual for a quick start guide, there's a safety guide, and there's a another flight safety instruction manual. So again, always read through these. I mean, a drone is really easy to fly and it's a whole lot of fun, but you want to make sure you get the best value out of the product because this drone has a lot of advanced features built in. I'll talk about some of those in a minute, but let me get into the controller because boy, this has got some weight to it and it's wider than most controllers I use. So let's see what we got here. Let's see what they've come up with in the controller. Oh, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. So it expands. Oh, look at that. It expands so you can put your phone in there. I bet I could fit an iPad in there too. I'm going to have to play around with that and see. But it spins like that, or opens like that, slides open. And then here's your antenna. And you're going to want to face the antenna towards the drone. It's omnidirectional, but it does have sort of a focal in this direction. So its attention is downfield. But boy, they've done a nice job with this controller. It's very comfortable in your hands. The buttons fall right where you'd expect them to. On the bottom, there are your 2 joysticks. These pop out. You can leave them in there, as a holder. And when you need to use them, you'll pull them out and then gently screw them into the top of the joystick ports on either side. And then once you've got those installed, you're ready to fly. Now, there's going to be a connection for your cable on the unit. You connect up the cable between this and your phone. Then you're ready to go. Boy, I like the look of this. Initially I thought it was really heavy, but I don't think it is. I think it's very comfortable in your hands. Nice rubberized underneath there so you can, hold on to it really well. Joysticks on the top. Looks like a record picture button. A couple other C2 and C1 down here, and 2 spin controls. So I imagine one of these is going to handle the tilt on the camera. The other one is probably the zoom. This has a 4x zoom on it, so that's probably what that's all about. So essentially you're going to connect it up. There's the USB-C port right there. So if you're using one of these cables, you'll plug that into the USB-C port like that. Then the other end of it plugs into your phone or your tablet. You can expand it and you're ready to go. So that's pretty neat. And fold this up, put this back in a case, and everything's good to go. All right, so that's the controller. Now I want to get into the drone because boy, I've got a lot of questions about this particular drone. Now before I open this up, a lot of people were asking about the capabilities of the drone. So actually let me open it up and then I'll talk about it because I really want to get a look at this. All right, here we go. Ooh, here we go. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is really nice. All right, so the first thing you're going to notice is there's a strap around it with some Velcro to keep everything organized. I like that a lot. It's a really simple way to keep these props from flopping all over the place, because if you throw it back in the bag and you got these floppy props going on over here, you're going to bend one of them, you're going to break one of them, slide it back in the bag. So I like the fact that they've given you this sort of, this Velcro strap that holds everything together. It's a nice way to pack it up. So let's take a look at the drone. I want to unspool the arms. All right, so these go out this way. Very familiar. Now the drone itself, let me drink this in a little bit. Oh, this is nice. Very nice. Very, very nice. USB-C port in the back, and that's the battery. So again, that shouldn't be a surprise. Battery slides out and then slides back in the drone here like that. On the back, you've got a micro SD card slot right there. You've got some indicator lights on the back. You've got a little bit of IR up front reflection. I'm not sure about the obstacle avoidance. Obviously, it's not a 360-degree obstacle avoidance, but I'm sure it's got some kind of infrared up front for obstacle avoidance. And on the bottom, I've got time of flight sensors right there, which will help it navigate when it gets close to the ground. Now, it is a GPS-enabled drone, which means it's going to know exactly where it is in 3D space. But if you know anything about GPS, it's not great when it gets close to the ground. And that's when those time of flight sensors kick in, because they're going to be bouncing infrared light off of the ground, and it knows much more accurately how close it is to the ground. That's also a challenge when you're flying over water, because these don't kick in typically till you're under about 15 feet. So if you're flying over water, try to keep it above 15 feet, because if these are reflecting off of water, you could have kind of squirrely behavior from the drone, at least from my experience on other drones. All right, so let's take a look at the camera. Boy, that's in there nice and tight. There's a little rubber thing. Let me get that out of the way. All right, so it's got a 3-axis gimbal on the front. The drone itself weighs less than 250 grams, so it's in that mini category where you don't have to worry about registering it with the FAA. You've still got to fly it like a regular drone, but you won't have to worry about the registration or the tests or any of that stuff. You still have to take the basic test, which is easy. You can go online and take that, but the trust test. But 32 minutes of flight time. It's a 1/2 inch sensor on the front, so it's not, a small sensor. It's got a very nice sensor that'll record 48 megapixel pictures. It'll record 4K at 30 frames per second, 1080 at a higher frame rate, but I think you're going to get a lot of really good video out of the front of this unit. It also has a 4x zoom. It can record vertical videos as well, so if you're a big TikToker or you're doing something on, other platforms that require that 9:16, you can use this to record for that. But man, this is a good looking drone. Now I have to say, after looking at it, a lot of similarities here. A lot of similarities between this Potensic Atom 2 and other drones that I fly from companies like DJI and others. So I wonder if there's any horse trading going on in the background around technology. Seems like there might be some IP sharing between the companies, but I can't really say that until I get it up in the air and fly it. But I do find that the specifications are really similar to another DJI drone that I fly. 32 minutes of flight time, 10,000 kilometers of distance. They call it PixSync on this one. The OcuSync is the DJI counterpart of it. So there's maybe technology is evolving at the same pace. Maybe there's some trading of technology in the background. But again, it looks like a solid build drone. It's got a real nice feel to it, a little bit of weight, probably pushing that 250 gram limit. But I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this. So all in all, the Fly More combination gives you, like I'd mentioned, pretty much everything you need to fly it, to recharge it. You've got extra batteries, you've got the nice carrying case, you've got 4 sets of extra props, you've got connection cables for charging, and you've got the controller, which comes with the basic kit. But I guess for me, the Fly More combination always makes sense, because I know I'm going to enjoy flying the drone, and 32 minutes is not enough. If I drive to a location and there's a beautiful lake, I want to be up in the air quite a long time, capturing some great footage. So having 2 extra batteries is really nice, and having the hub to charge those batteries at the same time is really beneficial as well. You're going to need extra propellers, so again, if you add up what you're getting, in addition to the basic kit, it probably is I'm sure it's a better buy to actually put it together as that Fly More combination. But again, the choice is yours. If you're on a tight budget, maybe go with the basic package and add those things later on. But that's pretty much it for the unboxing. Again, I want to get this up in the air. You guys know how much I love flying drones, and I can't wait to get it up and put it through its paces. So thank you for watching today. Now, I will be posting other clips that go into much more detail about the product. I'll put up a clip from my first flight of the product, and I'll also fly it a lot and put together a montage of some video clips and pictures so you can judge for yourself just how good this product is. But that's pretty much all I had for today. So hopefully you found this review helpful. Thanks an awful lot for watching. And until next time, as always, happy flying.